What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with another daily video. And today we're going to talk a little Seattle Seahawks today. We're going to do a snap count Wednesday. So I'm going to go through and break down the snap counts for offense and defense. Just talk a little bit about the Seahawks performance coming off a very, very impressive 24-3 win over the New York Football Giants. Before I get started, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'm 44 subs away from 2,500. Thank you guys that have all subscribed. So if you're someone that just kind of watches casually and you maybe like the videos, just hit subscribe for me. If you can hit that like button as well, it's a free way to help support my channel and to help my videos and my channel grow essentially. So thank you guys for hitting that like button. A little quick update in the channel. Mariners videos are not going anywhere, but Mariners season's over. We dove into that press conference yesterday. I don't have the energy to do a Mariners video right now. They have drained me. And I want to talk about fun, positive things. I'm a positive person at heart, sometimes, most of the time. So let's talk Seahawks. Seahawks are 3-1. They're off to a great start this season. And they look good. They look the part. The defense is showing improvements. The offense is legit. So let's dive into it. For the channel, I will have videos daily. There might be a day or two where I don't have something up. It's going to happen. For the most part, you're going to have daily content from me. And I will have a weekly Mariners video up. We're still going to, this channel's not talking Mariners because I know most of you subscribe for the Mariners. But it'll be like a weekly video. We'll go over things that might have happened, maybe some minor league stuff, some roster, some transactions. We'll dive into all of it. My Mariners season recap is coming. Give it a few days. Again, I really just need a deep breath from the Mariners. So it'll probably be up early next week, maybe end of this week. So let's get into the snap counts here. I'm going to bring up the screen here. This is courtesy of NFL snap counts on Twitter or X. That's where I'm getting these from. So they were kind enough to post this on Twitter. So credit to them for this. So let's go over the snap count. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. If not, I am going to read it off. Let's start with the offense, and then we'll obviously move into the defense. Only 3 players played every snap for Seattle on offense. And not oddly enough, but 2 of them were guys that were not starters at the start of the season. Jake Curhan, Stone Forsythe, and Evan Brown all played all 55 snaps. Now, Evan Brown did that between center, and he went over to left guard for much of this game. And Curhan and Forsythe play every snap at tackle. Anthony Bradford plays 50 snaps at guard. He came in for Phil Haynes. DK Metcalf plays 39 snaps. Kenneth Walker, 39 snaps. Uluwatimi plays 38 snaps. He came in when Damian Lewis got hurt and Evan Brown went to left guard. Tyler Lockett, 38 snaps. Geno Smith, 38 snaps. Colby Parkinson played the most of the tight ends. He played 32 snaps. Disley got 29. JSN played 29. Noah Fant, 25. Jake Bobo, 21. D.D. Lewis, well, it's going way back. Damian Lewis played 17 snaps. Drew Lock, 17 snaps. Charbonnet, 13 snaps. Cody Thompson, 6. Phil Haynes, 5. DJ Dallas, 4. Obviously, let's start with the offensive line and work out. I'll kind of give my assessment on how they played. A lot went on for the offensive line in this game. It's already been beat up this season by injuries to Charles Cross and Abe Lucas. Bye week is really coming at a good time for the Seattle Seahawks, and it's rare to say that a week 5 bye is a good thing. But honestly, honest to gosh, it is a good thing for this team right now. You've got a chance to get Charles Cross back in there. Abe Lucas has to miss one more game. Now, I don't know what his progress is. Hopefully next week, Pete will start. Seahawks are on bye this week, so hopefully next week we'll hear from Pete talking about that a little bit more. And hopefully maybe Lucas is back after that Cincinnati game. We'll see. My guess is probably not, but hopefully he's on the road to recovery. And then you've got Phil Haynes and Damian Lewis went out in this game, so both starting guards were down. I really think the Seahawks, a couple testaments here. Shane Waldron has done a great job with this offense. He has done a good job scheming for the talent he has. Now, the players deserve credit. Curhan's played solid. Forsythe has played solid. I think Uluwatimi has come in and done a nice job. I think Bradford is very raw, but you see the power that he has at guard. And Evan Brown's ability to play multiple positions is a huge boost for this team. Shane Waldron deserves a lot of credit. He's done a great job scheming up the tight ends, getting them involved with blocking, getting kind of those multiple looks where they have the tight ends and the backs in the backfield. It confuses the defense because you just don't know where those guys are going to go. It's nice to see, and I'm not saying this team didn't have some creative stuff back in the day with Schottenheimer and everything. And I don't think Schottenheimer was a bad offensive coordinator, but it was very snap the ball. Here it is. This is what we're doing. I like how Shane Waldron disguises a lot more stuff pre-snap than some of the other offensive coordinators in the past have done. Andy Dickerson, the offensive line coach, has done a phenomenal job as well. I just want to pull something up right here. Give me 1 second. I just wanted to check something real quick. Sorry about that, guys. Where was I? Oh, Andy Dickerson has done a great job as the offensive line coach here for the Seahawks. Um, I really think him and Waldron might be future head coaches in the league. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but ever since he came over from Mike Solari, this offensive line has just taken steps forward. We saw at the end of 2021, even a little bit when Rashad Penny broke out, we saw this offensive line kind of taking the next step forward a little bit for sure. And, now we're seeing really the fruits of it with, for the first time, it feels like in forever, it feels like we have a solid offensive line. We haven't even had the starting unit play. I mean, but 3 quarters this season. I don't mean 3 quarters of the season. I mean, legitimately 3 quarters of a game. Dickerson deserves a lot of credit. A lot of people thought when the Mariners, please not the Mariners, when the Seahawks hired Shane Waldron, he brought Andy Dickerson over from LA. There was a lot of people. I'm not giving away anybody. I have a couple people I talked to. I'm not going into anything there. A lot of people thought Andy Dickerson was the real catch of the Shane Waldron hire. Now, Waldron's been fantastic, but a lot of people thought Andy Dickerson was the real get there for the Seahawks, getting him in to this organization. He's done a great job. I mean, look at what the Giants did. Look at the New York Giants with their offensive line. They're beat up too. They lost their center in this game as well. The rookie out of, I think, BC came out of the game. They're without Andrew Thomas. They've got a young prospect in Evan Neal at right tackle and a couple other guys in the interior. They give up 11 sacks. Part of that is Daniel Jones, but there was some place he had no time. And I'm not necessarily blaming their offensive line coach, but, all the Giants fans have to do is look across the field. Look at Seattle. Their offensive line for most of this game was Stone Forsythe at left tackle, Evan Brown left guard, with Timmy center, Bradford right guard, and Jake Curhan right tackle. That's all backups. Or Evan Brown, a starter playing out of position. Now he can play guard, but you know what I mean? So you've got to give them credit. And I think Pete and John deserve credit for this too. We are seeing the depth of this team. One thing that, and I said this in my post-game video against the Giants, one thing this team has struggled with in the past in the Russell Wilson era was the depth of this roster. Part of that was just, and I'm going to say this because it sounds so arrogant as a Hawks fan, but part of it was the Seahawks won a lot of football games and they weren't drafting in the top 10 a lot. So you weren't getting all the blue chip talent. Doesn't mean there's not blue chip talent down the road, but the depth was always questionable for years. And now this feels like, and I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but this feels like the deepest roster since the LOB. Like, I just look at this offensive line. They held up. They were not perfect. I thought Gino was sacked a couple times. I thought there were a few times when he kind of had to step out of pressure, step in the pocket. Drew Lock too a little bit. They were not perfect, but my gosh, like I feel pretty confident now that if, and fingers crossed, but and no pun intended, if Charles Cross has to miss a game in December, I feel pretty good that Stone Forsythe can come in there. If Abe Lucas, pulls a hammy or, God forbid, in the middle of a game in November, I feel pretty good with Jake Curhan coming in there. The depth is solid. It's good enough. It is good enough. It is solid depth. Really got to give credit. And the players deserve a lot of credit too. Not much to talk about in terms of the wide receivers. DK out there the most along with Lockett. JSN plays 29 snaps. That's probably the one thing they haven't done yet is get Smith and Jigba going. And I don't know if that's something Shane Waldron's struggling with. I don't know if it's Smith and Jigba's injury and he's still not 100%. It could also just be the fact, guys, this team has a lot of weapons. It has a lot of weapons. And you can't have 7 guys have 100 yards receiving every day. You've got DK, Tyler, the tight end group. I will put this tight end group against anybody's room in the league. I get there's better like Kittle is a more higher end tight end and stuff like that. But the group as a whole, Parkinson, Disley, and Fant is a really, really good tight end room. I saw a few Seattle guys before the season putting the tight ends at a C or C minus, and it blew me away. Like, this is a good tight end group. Noah Fant's a good receiving tight end. Will Disley's a first down machine and probably the best blocking tight end in the league. And I love Colby Parkinson. I think he is a really, really underrated player. And I love how Waldron utilizes them. But anyways, going on with that, go back to JSN. So you've got the tight ends there. You've got Walker. You've got Charbonnet. There's just not all of these guys can get the big numbers. And truthfully, this was a tough game to judge the offense because truthfully, the offense didn't play that great in this game. Now, people will sit there and go, oh, see, they only scored 24 because of the short fields. Now, I hate when people do that because it's not the offense's fault that the defense gave them the ball at the 10-yard line. Like, it's sort of getting on a running back for having a 1 yard per carry when his one carry was at the 1 yard line. That's not their fault. The Seahawks had a lot of short fields because the defense dominated. They didn't score because after the Devin Witherspoon pick six, Giants get the ball back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a tough game to judge the offense. They lost a lot of players on the O-line. They scored on defense. Truthfully, had they kicked a field goal on that 4th and 1 where they went for it, I'm not saying they should have, but let's say they do. Let's say Myers makes his field goal. This game could have been 30-3 really, really easily. Or if they pick up the 4th and 1, maybe they score. So I thought the offense was fine as a whole. I really, really do. But just a tough game to judge the numbers. So I like having JSN in the back pocket. I think it's a good thing. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's someone in the second half of the year you could really, really see step up big time. Jake Bobo played 21 snaps. It looked like Bobo was almost playing fullback a little bit. I know Seattle doesn't use the fullback for 21 snaps in a game. Nick Ballore, congratulations to him. Birth of him and his wife had a child, and he would miss the game for the birth of his child. So congrats to him. He wouldn't have gotten 21 snaps, obviously. And some of that for Bobo probably came in the last possession or two. But it looked like they kind of had him almost as a lead blocker type thing, kind of playing wide receiver, lead blocker there. But I thought Bobo, he showed a lot of blocking ability. I thought he's looked really good doing it. Interesting, though, to see that he did get those 21 snaps. I'm not saying he played fullback, but I think they kind of used him in a lead blocker type role. Listen, hopefully the injuries, as much as these guys are playing well, and I love it, and I'm super proud of, like I said, Waldron, Dickerson, Pete, John, and the players themselves, I am looking forward to getting guys back because I do think eventually, they're holding up fine right now, but it's not going to hold up against Dallas, San Francisco, Philly. Good thing is you play those guys in November, December. But this offensive line would struggle against those defenses. That's not a knock on them, but you need your blue chippers in there. You need Cross back. You need Lucas back. You want Lewis in there. Phil Haynes has played really well when he's been healthy. And then Evan Brown's looked good at center. So hopefully the bye week can help get that back. You won't have Forsythe back for Cincinnati, but hopefully you won't have Lucas back for Cincinnati, but hopefully Charles Cross is back. And it sounds like Cross might be getting closer. He was out against Carolina and Detroit, obviously, and then he was doubtful against the Giants. So the status is getting better for him. Let's move on to the defense. Defense played 75 snaps. Again, going with what I said of the defense was just on the field longer. Now, part of that is not bad. That's not bad defense. That is because of the pick six. The Giants essentially get back-to-back possessions out of that. So kind of with going what I said about the hard to judge the offense there because they just had limited snaps. 75 defensive plays total. Only Witherspoon and Julian Love played all 75. Tariq Woolen played 73 snaps. Bobby Wagner and Quandre Diggs each played 67. Mike Jackson played 63. Jordan Brooks, 58. Uchenna Nwosu played 45 snaps. Draymond Jones played 41. Darrell Taylor played 40. Boye Mafe, 38. Jaron Reed, 38. Mario Edwards, 37. Derek Hall, 27. Miles Adams, 22. Cam Young, 21. Devin Bush, 10. That was a little surprising. Jamal Adams, 9. John Radigan. Jarek Reed. Boykin. I don't know Boykin's first name. I know he was signed this week. Radigan, Reed, Jarek Reed played 8. Boykin played 2. And Thomas played 1 at linebacker. So Boykin, Thomas, Jarek Reed, Radigan came in that last couple possessions for the Seahawks when the Giants brought in Tyrod Taylor at quarterback there. No shock that Julian Love and Devin Witherspoon played every snap. Witherspoon's a rookie. He's not going to get to come out in the fourth quarter of a blowout. And truthfully, they didn't really have any corners left, to be honest, I don't think, because Artie Burns and Kobe Bryant were both out for this game. So no shock there. And with Julian Love, again, there's not really a backup safety with Jamal Adams getting hurt, so he had to play every game. That's why Quandre Diggs didn't play every snap. Tariq Woolen came out for the last 2 snaps. Interesting. So no real questions in the secondary. We know how that went. Nothing surprising there. Bobby Wagner played essentially every snap, came out at the end. It is interesting that Bobby Wagner has been the every down linebacker. I kind of thought that would be Jordan Brooks, but I will say this, and I liked the Bobby signing. I did not think Bobby Wagner was the same player he was, 8-10 years. And of course he's not. Of course he's not. Like, he's getting older. He's towards the end of his career here. But I knew that he was going to bring leadership and just a savvy to that defense. But man, I think Bobby Wagner's playing really, really well. Now, this was not an offense that's going to be able to challenge him as much as some other offenses. I want to see him, it'll be interesting how he does as they go up against better offenses here going forward. We've seen Bobby struggle defending the pass recently. He's still been a really good run stuffer and still a pretty good pass rusher, and he had 2 sacks. But I do wonder as they get to play some of these faster, better offenses coming up here in just the next couple months, and as Jordan Brooks continues to, get back to full go from his injury, I do wonder if you're a little better off with Jordan Brooks' athleticism out there more than Bobby. I know Jordan Brooks isn't the best linebacker in coverage either, but you'd have to feel a little better with Brooks just based on his, being a little younger and his being a little bit more athletic. But I thought Bobby played great in this game. He has been a huge asset and a huge reason why this run defense went from one of the worst last year to so far through 4 games, one of the better run defenses in the league. Michael Jackson played outside at corner bunch. So I do actually want to talk about the secondary. I said no, but I think it is fair to talk about. Devin Witherspoon was essentially rotating outside in nickel, playing outside in base, and then in nickel, he would slide inside and play nickel, and Michael Jackson would come in and play the outside. Again, I've got to give this organization credit for their depth here. They lost Kobe Bryant for this game. Now, I'm not the biggest Kobe Bryant fan. I think he's looked great, but he's been your primary nickel. You lost Artie Burns, who played nickel last week. I thought did a real nice job. He missed this game. Trey Brown, who had a pick 6 in week 2 and has done a real nice job on the outside, got a concussion last week. He couldn't play. You also lose Jamal Adams in this game, and the secondary still played pretty well. You have Michael Jackson, who was a full-time starter last year and wasn't a Pro Bowler or anything, but I thought was okay. He comes in, and your defense is all right. Do I think Michael Jackson is an all-pro corner or something? No, but he's solid depth. The fact that you can lose Trey Brown, Artie Burns, Kobe Bryant, Jamal Adams, and you still feel okay with the secondary is just, it's one of my favorite things about this team so far this year is that depth. I don't know how well Jackson played. Didn't look at the PFF or anything like that. I didn't go back and watch the game yet, but I know the Giants don't have the weapons to really test you there, especially with their offensive line being the way it is. But I thought he played well. Good to see Nwosu get a couple sacks. Draymond Jones has been a lot more active. He was very quiet week 1 against the Rams. I was really disappointed, but he showed up and got a sack against the Lions. I thought he had some good pressure against Carolina. And I thought, even though he didn't technically get a sack this week, I thought he had a couple that he could have had a half sack on. He was right there with some of these other guys cleaning up, and just didn't get it on. They just didn't give it to him on the stat sheet. But I think he is playing a lot better. And I think he's looked pretty good against the run. I'm not positive on that. There's other people that can break down the film better than me that could tell you. But so far, I think he's held up pretty well overall. And he looked good. Jaron Reed looked really good again. Again, didn't get to the quarterback, but man, I thought he was pushing the pocket inside. A lot of those plays where Daniel Jones stepped up and took off was Jaron Reed pushing the pocket. Sometimes you push the pocket so much the quarterback steps up and can make a run. It happens. No big deal. But I thought he played really well. Boye Mafe has been great. I think he's got 2 or 3 sacks already on the year. I praised him in my post-game recap. Not only last year, Mafe was a really good run-stuffing end. And that's great. But if you're going to be an every down player at defensive end, you've got to get to the quarterback. You've got to find a way to show some pass rushing ability. And he has absolutely done that this year. In fact, I think by ESPN's pass rush win rate, he's in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. So this could be a big breakout year here for Boye Mafe. I thought Derek Hall, I think he had a quarterback hit. In fact, I think he hit Daniel Jones on the Quandre Diggs interception. So it's something that's not going to really show up in the stat sheet, but it forced an errant throw and a turnover. Mario Edwards has been a fantastic veteran signing. Every year, the Seahawks seem to get one or two just these veterans off the street that they bring in that just perform. We saw it from Al Woods. Remember Taba Rubin was pretty good for them when they brought him in. Tony McDaniel, and this year it's been, and I know they're more, inside guys, and Edwards is technically a D end, but man, Mario Edwards has flashed. He got the strip sack on Daniel Jones. He had 8 quarterback hits or pressures against the Panthers last week. He is ready to break out. He's a guy that could get a couple sacks here, especially going against some weaker offensive lines. He is really, really impressed. Darrell Taylor's the one guy I'd like to see get going. And again, I haven't watched it. He maybe did get some wins, but would like to see him start showing up on the stat sheet a little bit. Luckily, you've got good performances from other guys on that D-line. And so far, and by the way, the Seahawks are actually tied for the league lead in sacks. And I know most of those are from, and that's pretty much it for the snap counts that I'm going to go over. A little surprised. Last thing I'll say is Cameron Young, 21 snaps. He's been impressive at nose tackle. I think him, Jaron Reed, Draymond Jones, and some of these ends have been, and Bobby Wagner as well, and Jordan Brooks have been a reason why this run defense has been so much better. I thought we might see more Devin Bush, especially against Darren Waller and the Giants that don't quite have the speed. I thought we might see a little bit kind of that big nickel with maybe Devin Bush playing there, but whatever, not a big deal. Either way, go back to full screen here. And, the Seahawks lead the league or tied for the league lead with 16 sacks. Like I said, again, a lot of people are going to kind of push that aside, saying that, well, 11 of them were against the Giants. And my response to that is, again, and this is what, for any of you, if any of you guys are dealing with it, with people telling you, oh, it doesn't matter, it's the Giants' offense, they're terrible. First of all, 11 sacks is good. I don't care who you're going up against. The Giants are not going to let up 11 sacks again this year. They're not. In fact, that's probably going to be the most sacks any team has in a game this season. Number one, that's impressive. I don't care who you are going up against. It is impressive. Number two, guess where most teams get their numbers from? Bad teams. That's how you win in this league. You dominate the bad teams. You break even with the good ones. And you get it done against the mediocre teams. That's what you do. Most teams, I guarantee you, and I'm not just use example, I guarantee you most of Nick Bosa's sacks are probably against teams that aren't that great. That's not a knock on him. That's when players get their numbers. That's what you do. That's what good teams do. You dominate bad teams. It doesn't mean that it doesn't count. Now, do we want to see it more consistently? Of course we do. Of course we do. I'm not claiming this defense is here, best in the league, boom, get out of here. It's not what I'm saying at all. But it is impressive. It is. And it's something this defense has not shown in years, a dominant performance like that. So it's really good to see. And I think it's trending in the right direction. And the good news is Jamal Adams should be fine. It's a concussion that stinks, but it sounds like he should be back for Cincinnati. And then hopefully get some other guys back healthy as well. So hope you guys enjoyed this kind of snap count breakdown, my thoughts on it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll have another video for you guys all tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody, and go Hawks. Peace.